What's up?
See, now I know what's going on. See, it's like fists between the microphone. I'm getting professional now.
Yeah. Dude, so we normally do this I feel like I gotta have my Nate Edwards like every quarter. You know what I'm saying at this point? But we normally do this at the beginning of the year. But I figured let's end the year with it.
Hell
you know
yeah!
What I'm saying? This is probably gonna be the last one, next to the last one, close to the last one of the year.
Okay.
So, I don't know.
Hey, well, hopefully I don't disappoint. I always try to give some kind of value, so hopefully somebody's gonna get some out of it.
Yeah.
So I actually got approached by a guy in the military that said he's seen me. He said, I know you, and I don't know why. And I don't know why, but he said, do you know a guy named DJ? I said, yeah, I know DJ. He said, man, that's where I know you. I trained with him at Christ Fit, and that he's seen this podcast.
Yeah.
And I said, well, that's great. Did you get anything? And he said, yeah, the thing you said about your wife. He said, I didn't know. I've never heard it like that. And he said, just that alone was worth listening.
Yeah.
So we kind of already did the impact already. Like we've already succeeded. For all the interviews, if one person got something, that's all it's supposed to be.
Yeah, man. That's exactly. Yeah. There you go. You're right.
That's all it's supposed to be.
You're
Somebody
right.
got something. He's a young kid too. He's 19 years old.
Really?
So if at 19 you're already thinking about you're not in control of your wife's success, fail, or you should not be trying to impact what she loves or what you expect out of her because it's her journey. Mm-hmm. What do you guys say about it? That's pretty cool as a teenager to go forth, and now he'll probably treat people better because of that.
I wasn't thinking anything like that at 19.
Nothing like that.
Bro, I was thinking about myself.
Yep.
That's it.
So it's really cool to, I don't know, you're ruining some stigmas.
Yeah.
And that if I would have known that as a teenager, how much easier would things have been relationship-wise and just treatment of people?
Yeah. Don't you think that's interesting? Like the access to information has we say ruined people, but also helps people too, right? Because there's so much access to, we didn't have access to anything. We just believed the bullshit our parents or uncles told us, they was the baddest in the world. We believed that shit. We didn't have no way to fact check them.
So there is the double-edged sword. So I will say, because people say, oh, what book are you on? Or what are you into? And really, this type of format, I probably consume 10 podcasts a week.
Yeah, I'm at least consuming 5 to 6 hours a week. That's about all my time allows right now. But that's a lot of time, if you think about it.
In the background,
real conversation.
Yeah, in the background when I'm working,
yeah.
If I'm cutting the grass, if I'm preparing food, I'm listening to somebody who's an expert at something.
Yeah.
Tell me about it. I don't care if it's raising chickens on grasshoppers, and then I'll be flipping it to a Jordan Peterson thing about, the state of society, or if you flip it to, I don't know, Stavros, comedian, he's a nut. Do you know what I'm saying? You're constantly learning about how different people view life, and it kind of gives you little nuggets to think about.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I like the conversation format, more than just someone just talking about something for lengths of time. The TED Talk thing is cool, but I like the conversation format because you get a lot of back and forth, and it's not just a delivery. It's like a delivery and then how someone receives it, and then reciprocation of that. That's where I get more from, I think.
Right.
But that's just me. But everyone's different.
I think there's an issue. We have a problem with attention span right now, and that we have a YouTube short community or a country, but we have a long form conversation solution if you pursue it.
Yeah.
So the tagline and the thumbnail will drive people's opinion, but really you didn't get the full thing.
Yeah.
You got what gets people upset, so then they have an opinion. If you viewed the whole conversation, I don't think you'd have that conclusion.
Oh yeah, of course. That's how it is though, man. It's just like if you're walking by and you hear someone saying, it's old school. So let's take it back 20 years. You're walking through, you're at the schoolyard or whatever.
Yeah.
High school campus, college campus, whatever, and you walk by and you hear someone's like, fuck Sheila. You know what I mean?
And you're like,
fuck Susan or whoever. Some chicks are talking about it. You keep on walking and they were like, hey, did you know so-and-so was talking shit about, old girl? And they're, you know what I mean?
It gets sideways real quick. I just had this conversation before I came here with some coworkers. And that there was, we don't use any names, but there was a very high up person that had got something taken out of context, and they really got nailed to the cross.
Yeah.
There was a really bad work culture, and he said, that is a mentally weak thing to do, and that I can't believe somebody would do that. That's the only thing that people heard was that it was mentally weak to have something done. in the context of, in the immediate sentence afterwards, the dude said, but I understand because this person had this and battled cancer and this and this. But it was a 30-lined paragraph that somebody took 4 words out of, and that's their opinion of that person.
Yep.
So I love this kind of stuff, because there's some stuff that I'm going to say that people will not resonate with, and they're like, no, I don't agree with that at all, and that's fine. But there's, in the grand scheme of it, you should be able to get the overarching thing of, we're just here to help.
Yeah.
And that my whole life purpose is, how much help did I do when I was alive? And that if, like, that one airman that seen me, if that ruined a generational curse that he had through his family, or I shouldn't say a curse, that's rude.
No, but
if he had a generational habit that he had.
I mean, it's truth, because like you could call it a curse, because it is a bad habit. It's just it's something that carries on, generation to generation, because nothing is intervened.
Yeah,
like he's intersected that.
He's a special operator type dude. Like, he went in the pipeline and washed out for whatever reason. I don't know if it's physical, mental, whatever it was. And that he's going right back in there, and that we have frequent conversations about either training optimization, personal finance, whatever, because the dude's 19 years old. He doesn't know about all of life yet, and that there's a really unique opportunity to help him do it better than you ever could have. So you never know. I might run into that dude when I'm 60 and he's 40, and he goes, you know what, Mr. Edwards, I just want to tell you that just this part alone, I got 5 kids. They're all doing really well. I started my own business after I did 3 years in the pipeline, got out, started a consulting business. We live in Houston, whatever. And it could be something as simple as hearing this podcast that was the cascade of everything else that came after that. Pretty cool.
Yeah. No, it's crazy that, that just makes me feel good, right? Like, it makes me feel good that anytime anyone says anything, and they're like, hey man, I heard so and so, that was great, and I was like, I gotta keep doing this. Yeah, man,
it's validation that you are heard.
Yeah.
And that family can tell you whatever. They want to believe in you because they love you.
That's biased opinion.
But somebody, I don't know that person. I know him now, and he's a cool guy.
Right.
But I didn't know him before that. And that by being able to just share a perspective of mine, and I don't have any answers, don't even claim to, but in my perspective, I've seen how it's done wrong, at least from what I see. And then if you could just not do it as wrong, probably be better.
Yeah.
So, like how you're saying, we used to not know any different because our uncles and our moms and everybody.
And just told us stuff all the time, and we believed everything.
Yeah.
Because we didn't have a way to like formulate our own opinion based on a multitude of information. Whereas now it's like, you can argue with me, you know what I mean? And have a sound argument if you have all this, like, backup information. Like,
and I even like it if the information is bad, because then it can force me to make a decision of, am I going to investigate it? And then what part of it is bad, and what part of it could I use, and what part of it or how many people are believing this side of the thing, so that way I can at least have context and be able to have a conversation with somebody without being judgmental or jumping conclusions or being confrontational. Because somebody may believe this over here for certain reasons that I didn't think about. So then if I hear this wild ass statement, then you go and you say, okay, why did that person say that? Or what facts are coming from that? And then you look and you go, okay, that's kind of true, but that's absolutely full of shit. And then you go down the line. And so if it's more true than terrible, could adopt a different shade of gray. And that you can have a commonality because you see this person's point here, but you can counterpoint them and say, I completely agree with this side, but have you ever thought about that this one is a little bit wild? So now you have discourse and dialogue versus an argument.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something too that people are starting to figure out. It works, right? Because used to it's just, you have two sides and one goes after the other one goes after the other one. But now we're seeing more just like styles like of what we're doing here. There's got to be people that I disagree with on political, personal, whatever opinions that, I mean, out of 100 and I don't know, we're getting close to 170 of these. Like,
dang, good for you, man.
Well, but at that point it's like, okay, I've had to sit down with people that I disagree with on all types of subjects, and we still got along. We had conversations. Now, did those get brought up? Probably not. But still, if they would have, we wouldn't have agreed upon some things. But we still were able to sit down and hang out and have a good time. Because I guarantee you that all my thoughts and passions and everything don't align completely with every single person that I've had a conversation with.
Nope. But that's also being an adult.
Yeah.
So, I'm telling you, this is meant to be happening today. Because I was walking into the warehouse, which I'm in the warehouse now. We moved in. We'll talk about the work thing in a minute.
What warehouse? What you talking about?
Oh, on base.
Okay,
So
okay.
I live in the places that I'm helping.
Right.
So when we get into that, but I was walking into the warehouse thinking, what clown face are people seeing of me today?
Okay.
And I chuckled when I said it is because it's such a weird thing. I had a glimpse of me in the side of somebody's car window, and like I look like a damn adult. So like I'm in work clothes right now.
You don't look like you look whenever I met you.
No, I look like an adult right now. This is weird because I went from being Nate, who is squirrely, wild. I mean, crazy, athletically driven. I want to do everything wild. Then I went to coach, which different capacity, still wild, helping people wanting to do that. But then I'm now Mr. Edwards, like fully stepping into Mr. Edwards is weird. Just different faces for different seasons. So me at 30, I had a very good skill set at a certain thing, but I was real deficient in another thing. At 35, great skill set in public speaking and getting to know how to integrate people into stuff. And now 40, way different animal where you understand organizational needs. You understand how to take this team leader and put them with that team leader and de-escalate this conflict, and then figure out how much that is either worth to an organization or not. I can only imagine at 50 years old how dangerous this is about to be. Shit is awesome.
Yeah.
Like watching it and being excited about, man, I'm about to kick all the ass at 50. Because at 30, you were so focused on being like your McDonald's churning and burning, where you gotta learn your thing. At 40, I'm figuring out how to connect people that learn the thing, and I'm not the answer.
Yeah.
And at 50, I'm telling you, it's about to be a whole thing.
Do you get more excited working now with the military versus working previously with athletes or just someone that was on like a personal journey?
Yes, and that now each one. So I preface this: the personal journey, civilian type, where just regular people. That was fulfilling in a whole nother way.
Yeah, I can imagine it's two different things, but
yep.
Yeah.
Now this one, I can see direct impact of everybody being able to sleep at night.
Do you think it's this one? Do you think it's because organizational skills and format and layout is put in front of you every single day, so you can kind of see it.
I can see
manifest
change.
quicker.
Yeah,
quicker.
so
I mean,
like today, I had a call today. And I was asking about an impact because I'm a pain in the ass. Like if you're not doing something good, I'm a pain in the ass. And that if it's not optimal, we're going to figure out why it's not optimal and why you're not doing it. So I'm going to meet and we're going to figure this out. I'm digging. I need to know. So there was a structural issue at one of the facilities and it was driving me crazy because it's not supposed to be. So I view all of our people as G.I. Joe, and I will never retract that statement ever. Because who's coming to save anybody?
Yeah.
Nobody. Who are you going to call? This is the highest that we can call.
Yeah.
It's the military. You can't call nobody else.
Yeah.
So the treatment of our G.I. Joes should be of the utmost importance. And for me, I'm only concerned with the people with things that have heartbeats. I don't care about the machinery. I don't care about the bill. I don't care about anything else. If the things that have heartbeats are not well cared for and have the things that will support them to be optimal as they can be, there's a problem. And so I start looking at things which happen to be structural or ergonomics or whatever that are mistreating the heartbeat wearer, and that there happen to be a structural issue, and I'm a pain in the ass. So I make it their idea to fix said thing because we are not meeting it and it's not optimal, and I'll contact like 17 different locations that have it good. And so we say, well, if we're supposed to be this great thing, how do we have these major issues? So as of this morning, we got a $400,000 gift that is fixing said thing.
Okay.
Which was
as of this morning.
I checked the email this morning.
Fuck yeah! Well,
so
congratulations.
We're making progress,
right?
And it wouldn't seem like much to anybody else except for somebody that was really in it, looked like caring for the 5,000 people that are executing this mission.
So this is for something that you've been pushing to get taken care of, I guess, or whatever you can talk about. Like I'm sure.
Yeah, since August.
Yeah,
and it was just affecting the usability and having the airman be optimized. So there was a building that was just not good, and it was hosting some fitness equipment, and that I cannot let it lie, because I'm here to make sure that these people are doing this thing the best that they could. I'm really trying to make sure that they exit this military better than when they came in. And then we got $400,000. Now, granted, is it because of me? Hell no. But I'm sure that it got pushed further along because I was being a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
And that,
like, shut this dude up.
Yeah, they're like, man. So it was a win, and that in order to construct a new building, we're looking at like $10 million. So that little bit of pacifier stopped a giant
bleed. Makes sense. Yeah, that's a huge. Yeah, that's.
And it took 5 years to make.
Yeah.
So we're without something for 5 years.
Yeah.
That's dumb.
Yeah.
So it's really cool to watch, like, something that you're passionate about and that you get to have direct impact on people's lives actually come true. So there's a lot of times people do thankless jobs. You never know what the hell is going on. Like when I help somebody, after they leave my office, I usually don't know what happens. I have no idea. And I had a lady come at me the other day and say, Mr. Edwards, I just want to tell you something. I'm thinking, all right, this can go about one of two ways. I don't know where this is going. Either we have a problem or something good happened. And she said, I just want to tell you that I dropped over 4.5 minutes on my PT test from coming and talk to you. I'm down 42 pounds. I never hear those success stories, ever. I don't hear them because when they're successful, why they come talk to you? It's like, you don't go to the doctor and tell them, hey, I'm not sick anymore.
Yeah, you only see them when you're sick.
Yeah. So it's really cool to be able to see a career impactful, maybe life impactful, something for that lady. And that I would tell people, look, the stuff we're given is not magic. It's just consistent and it's intentful. So if you're consistently intentful, you're probably gonna do good stuff. So for her, maybe that made all the difference, because for them, PT test it's a career impactful thing.
Yeah,
she was at risk. She was a heavy set lady, and that she was having issues after she had the kid. She just wasn't bouncing back real well, and that she just wasn't responding. We sat down a couple of times, and then I never heard from her after that. And then she visibly was different in the face, like very slim face, and she was beaming, like smiling. And that if you decrease your run time by almost 5 minutes, that's a lot. And we're talking less than 6 months.
Yeah, that's a lot.
So she went from...
What's that distance?
1.5 miles.
Okay, yeah, that's a lot.
That's a lot.
That's a lot, man. Yeah.
So she went from almost a 16-minute to a very low 10 minute.
That's not bad at all.
So she's maxing. So she's getting a 90% on her test when she was almost not going to get a 75.
Yeah,
that's huge.
That's not, most people that are listening and watching probably can't run that.
You know, it's fast.
Yeah, I mean, it's not bad.
For her going from 50 pounds overweight,
right,
and barely getting through, like having serious struggles, to not 50 pounds overweight and scoring to where she only has to test 1 time a year versus 2 times a year. If you don't score above a 90, you gotta test twice a year. Mm-hmm. So now she only tests once a year, and I guarantee you that she's not gonna stop the progress. She already did well. So, well, she bet not. If she hears it, she bet not. Because it's too good. It's too good to watch something like that happen. Now, on the personal, so this stage of life so far has been pretty cool. It has its issues, just like every other stage, but I don't view it as a negative. Now, I get to figure out how to fix it. Right. Because corporately, I didn't understand the corporate lingo, like perma last email is a middle finger. Yeah. So like perma last email, or like I get
warm regards.
Yeah. It's a middle finger in corporate world.
Here's this revised, whatever.
Yes.
That's the fuck you too.
And with all your leadership chain CC'd, it's really a middle finger.
Yeah.
So now I'm learning to find out how much stuff costs, find out what impact that has to the overall, organization, whether it be Bank of America, whether it's the military, whatever.
Right.
What does it cost? What's the impact? How much is the average employee worth to you? And then if they're not at work, what does that cost you? Mm-hmm. And so then everything that I do, if I can tie into that.
We talked about that before, whereas the cost of them not being there based on
enormous
restrictions and diet or health.
Yeah.
And that justifies your position.
Correct. So I've really figured out how to tie my outreach with what they're doing. Yeah. And now it's not just me. So I have a team of people now. So pre this, and even the last time I talked to you, it was just me.
Okay.
So just me running around.
Job security, man.
Be staying in there. So like personal training, super impactful. I know their kids. I know their dog. I know their husband. I know their wife. Right. Like you are a member of the family. They love you. Mm-hmm. And that because you treat them like they're a member of your family, and that so very impactful. Like everybody I've ever come in contact with training, I should say 98% have been awesome people. Training athletes, super impactful. Like when you see one of your kids go to the league, I feel like I went to the league. So knowing, like watching somebody on Sunday and going, I remember that kid throwing up when we were pushing that board on that turf. Or I remember him saying, hey, coach, like a little kid, hey, coach, watch me do this, watch me do this. Like watching them be able to achieve their dreams was super impactful. And that it gave you credibility to go into the personal training side. We're like, okay, maybe he knows his stuff. Then that, like all the relationships and stuff kind of gave me the confidence to get into here. And oddly enough, while I was training here, I had one free seminar that I gave that was called Health is Wealth. And I have a picture of me writing on a board and doing it. No shit that became my actual job in the military of presenting to people about how health is impactful to all of your stuff. And then this whole thing right here and finding out how that whole thing worked is the springboard that got me to where I'm at right now, which I have a team of allied health people now. So human performance team. So I would be the team manager or team lead for them. Okay. And so physical therapist, so PhD level education, smart lady. Clinical psychologist, PhD level, smart guy. Strength and conditioning coach, double master, smart dude. Then you got myself, which I'm the resident troublemaker, and I keep everybody gainfully employed. And so I'm the one who is crunching the numbers, making sure that all of our embedment activity, like when you're getting with the leadership levels and explaining to them why you're valuable and how you can help them, and I need to be able to get into your guys' jobs so that way when they see me swinging axes and they see my strength coach in there sweating and dying, and the physical therapist in there crawling on the ground in the dark, and the psychologist in there in the suck, that they're wanting to hear the help that you're given, and that we're able to give tailored things and not guess. Because you cannot be an outsider coming into an organization and not know anything. Yeah. And that when you're in the suck, not only is it really cool for me, like Mike Bro, dirty jobs. Yeah. So I'm in there, like I'm actually going into a sewer. Yeah. It's going to be ridiculous, and I'll send pictures. But as of, so I got to put the bomb suit on. It's 100 and something pounds, $50,000. It's like being in Halo. They got the visor going over, pumping air into there. There's like little stuff, you can talk to it. Yeah. It'll say, lights, you have to tell it, and it'll put lights on. There's some cool stuff that you can do. But you don't realize that you're walking around like Ralphie, or what's Ralphie's brother's name? Oh man, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I can't remember.
Randy.
Yeah,
Randy. You're walking around like Randy in his snowsuit, and that you're trying to get down and put this X-ray machine so you can see in this bomb if there's a pipe bomb in there or whatever. And that you go and you got tools, and there's so many apparatuses that you have to go 1,000 feet or whatever safe distance it is. Get over to location, go upstairs, downstairs, through rooms, place set equipment, go back, get the second set of tools, diffuse, and then clean up, take things off. I mean, it's wild, man.
Yeah. And then, that's something so you're pretty much just doing this and getting involved with these things. So, well, it does two things. It gives you more of an idea of what their physical capabilities need to be.
Absolutely.
And mental. Mm-hmm. And then it also gives you an idea, or it gives you a form of respect for those people that you're talking to, right? It's just like always like the type of work we do, in our businesses and stuff. And it's like, as I grow and scale things and hire people, I want to be able to tell them I can do every damn thing that I'm asking you to do. That way they respect you more.
And if they drop out, you really can.
Yeah.
And it's number one, it's leading from the front. So my entire life I've gravitated towards solo sports because I don't have to depend on you to have me win.
Team sports are tough, man. I've never got into them, and I realized that it just wasn't. I thought for the longest thing it was a shortcoming for me. I was just like, well, I suck at. It's that I wasn't passionate about it because I guess I was only responsible for 5% of the. You know what I mean?
Yep. So that's what I'm trying to do is deconstruct the team sport that is the military installation that I'm in.
Right.
That's very much a team sport, but there's different teams within the installation. So the team that I'm in right now is civil engineers. So they're big time wrench turners. They can put buildings up, fix sewers, whatever. They're a team sport. And so you have to make them understand that there's certain skill set. That's their individual capabilities. So like your track and field, your wrestling, whatever. And have them be comfortable, confident, and competent in their individual skill to add to the entire team dynamic. So if you can't handle your business in your own thing and you're not the man or the lady, then we can't have a team win because we don't handle our own house. So everywhere I go into, we should have less injuries. We should have less suicide ideations. We should have more camaraderie. We should have more abilities. And everywhere I go, somebody should say, they really helped. Every time. If that's not the case, somebody failed, and it damn sure ain't going to be me.
And you're a huge proponent that all comes back to mental and physical health and wellness.
That's it. And so without it, we don't have anything else. That's all a human being is. So just for the audience, like just the way that I view a body is it's just a series of electrical circuits, pulleys, and hydraulic pumps. That's it.
You're right.
That's it. So your brain, electrical component. It's a computer, sends out signals, it does what it's supposed to do. Your muscles are cylinders filled with fluid, blood, interstitial fluid, all that fun stuff. It's in there, and that it is a hydraulic pump. And then your levers, which you got pulleys and levers, your bones and ligaments and joints, that's all that this thing is. If you view it as a machine as it is, and you can affect the mental part, which affects the electrical, and it can either tell something to move fast or not. And then if the skeletal stuff is sound and like you got good bone density, your joints and ligaments and tendons are not compromised, probably going to be able to allow those hydraulic pumps to pull and do what it's supposed to do. So I'm a reductionist, just this is what I am. If I don't understand something, I have to break it down to where it's stupid. And then if I can make it stupid, like the electrical, the pump and the pulley, then I can understand anything after that. So if this overloads the pulleys and the pumps to a certain degree that the electrical can't help it, then we need to fix that. So
because all the brain can do is tell those things to do what they need to do.
That's it.
If they're not able to do those because of whatever restriction it may be, then we have an issue.
Right. And so this is
and
where
that comes back to the
then the pain cycle starts.
Yeah.
And so your body goes, wait, we're out of position. You're going to put your joint at risk or the pulley at risk, and that it sends a signal that, hey, we're in pain, and that pain cycle starts and might not stop until you correct that system on how it moves. So it's all one big thing. That I just look at it as it's just three systems. That's it. And now, granted, it's way oversimplified. There's people that spent their whole life on just one system. I'm just kind of summating. But what we try to do is the clinical psychologist is a very, very valuable member of that team. And he is a cognitive sports specialist. So what he does is called stress inoculation. So he gets you to a place to where you feel absolutely horrible and then makes you do complex tasks.
complex and
So-
like mentally complex.
Yeah.
Stuff,
So let's say that we put you on a rower, max effort, 1,000 meters.
Right.
And at terrible.
That's max effort. Okay, yeah.
Max effort. I'm talking about 3 minutes
Right.
to get it. And then you and I have to play a game of Connect 4. And in
Yeah.
30 seconds, you got to clear the board. If you can't, you got to get back on the rower.
Ooh.
So EOD, like the Explosive Ordnance Division, or if you're a policeman, or if you're a pilot, or whatever, it's being under duress and make really precise decisions. Otherwise, bad stuff happens.
Yeah.
So you have to have the electrical component optimized to do hard things without breaking the other two systems. So that's how I look at it.
Yeah.
And so you take the mental aspect, even just the mental aspect of how you view yourself, how you view your contribution to your individual team, how you view yourself in the context of human being versus military member versus member of society kind of thing. All of that ties into, can you do your job well? Can we make sure that you're safe? And then can we learn something, and can we be around each other? I try to create that all the way around. So that's my little team. But then outside of my little team, you have what I used to be in is health promotion. So all of the behavioral type stuff, your food, your movement, your sleep. So I involve that team as much as I can into our stuff. And so now instead of 4 people, we would have, so health promotion, dietitian, there's 2, and then civilian health promotion and their helper. So there's 8 people now. Then you have the physical therapists that reside in the medical clinic that I can refer to if it gets too squirrely. So really it's like 10 people instead of just one that used to.
I'm extremely particular when it comes to my vehicles, and I only recommend those who are the same way. That's why I always recommend SBC Autos. They take pride in their inventory, from badass four-wheel drives, clean classic cars, and even your everyday grocery getters. They have it all. No hassle, no BS, sbcautos.com.
Run around.
Yeah.
So really be able to
But
magnify.
that's all come from them basically finding you, putting you in this position,
Correct.
and then you starting to solve problems.
Yeah.
Problems
So-
they knew were there, but they didn't know how to solve.
And without the athlete part, without the personal training part, and without, like, I would not have gotten to the steps without starting with high level people to see what you could be, and then the lowest level people like children or like obscenely hurt people or very elderly people towards you can build somebody back up to, and then the public speaking realm to like 500,000 people where you really can talk and get your point across.
Yeah.
And kind of see how the organization builds. Now it doesn't matter what problem occurs, it doesn't matter. Where I can recognize, okay, you got your tier 1 operators. I know who that is, the guy that was talking about
Right.
that he got the outcome. Then, but you also have somebody that's been in somebody's mom's basement playing video games that really is not sure of themselves, but they're in this career field. And that how can you take this one and make them what they should be without allowing them to spin the wheels until they fall off.
Right.
And then this one that has zero idea of what's happening, get them up to a level to where they're safe and they're competent and confident and that they enjoy what they're doing. And then eventually get it to where they're doing so well, they don't need me and I leave. You're always trying to work yourself out of a job.
Yeah. That's how a good trainer should be.
100%.
At any level. Like I used to tell people when I would dabble in trying to help people with personal training just because it was a passion of mine a long time ago. I would say, I'm trying to impact your entire way you view things.
Yeah.
That way you won't need me anymore.
That's the
Because if I'm someone you need all the time that you need to keep on retainer for the next 5 years, I'm not doing my fucking job.
and you didn't learn anything.
I'm not doing my job. I'm not a rep counter,
That's the 30-year-old guy that lives at mom's house on the couch.
Exactly.
They were not taught the life skills to go do.
Right.
So nothing wrong with anybody 30 living on their mom's couch.
Yeah, is
but
what it is. You could do more.
Let's not do that.
You can do more.
Let's not do that.
If you're that person, you can do more.
So, now, granted, circumstances dictate different things.
Of course.
But if it's a temporary thing, no shade. You do not want to have your goal to be 30 years old on your mom's couch. So, as a living, breathing human being, you should want to care for yourself and care for others, so that way your mother is not under stress caring for you.
Yeah.
But that all went into, I don't know, man. just different seasons of learning. It's not even season of life. It's just season of learning. So in my 20s, I thought I knew everything. I really thought I was smart. Oh, I got a master's degree, man. I'm that thing. No, you're not. You got a piece of paper.
Yeah.
It gives you the right to go and learn some more stuff.
Yeah, it gives you an opportunity to open a new door.
Yeah.
That's all it does. And then when you open that new door, you better start trying to get a master's in that.
In my 30s, I started being that's when I feel like I could really apply stuff. So I knew some stuff and I could apply it. And then I started getting tired in my 30s, like physically, mentally fatigued from applying. And then now in this decade of learning, I've learned to leverage other people's expertise and still add my own, but not be so mentally fatigued.
Yeah.
Allow their skill set to shine while being able to add, like basically keep their books full and to keep the ship going in the right way. So it's kind of like being an employee versus a manager versus the owner. So I think I'm working my way to the ownership.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing too, man. I feel that way too. I feel like my 20s was just all trial and error, which is most for everyone. And then now into my 30s, into my middle 30s, it's like, okay, well, I've figured out what applications work, what doesn't. Also, values, a huge shift in values, right?
I keep changing, man.
Right, but the values thing really sinks in for me, like family, wife, kids. Like I didn't have that before. So I was just turning the wheels, turning, no direction. Yeah, I was hustling my ass off. Yeah, I was talking all kind of good shit. I was doing good things, but no direction. No, like, not saying listing out goals and saying you're going to be here. Not saying that, but just no direction as to where I even thought I wanted to go. Just kind of living for the day to day, which is, if that's your lifestyle, cool. But for me, it's like once you find your actual direction and you align your values. And well, actually just learn your values, right? Like talk to yourself and say, okay, well, this is actually what I want to live for.
Sure.
Then taking that and putting it into action.
Yeah, this is the first time in my life I've actually enjoyed stuff.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like
I probably told you before.
Yeah.
Like I've always been told to have a short memory. Mm-hmm. That you might have done something really great. Don't get stuck on yourself like you're cool because there's somebody wanting to take it. So, you know what I mean? Like it's like, yeah, attaboy, you did great. All right, good. Back on the practice field.
Yeah.
Or, oh, you made X amount of dollars. You made your goal. Oh, well, what's the next goal? This is the first time my whole adult life, like I'm intentionally trying to enjoy it. Now, sometimes it makes me feel like I'm nervous, like I'm not doing something right because it's like you could do more. You can make more.
You have that mindset. I've been the same way. It's like, you're not doing this. You're going to do this. This is going to here. This is that. You got to get this done. Like now it's like, yeah, I agree. I think it's something to where it's like, okay, don't get too fucking comfortable. You know what I mean? Like, yes, I'm doing things right. I'm enjoying it, but don't get too fucking comfortable.
Exactly. So that's why I like doing the side business stuff. Like it's not real. Like granted, I am not like slammed busy.
Yeah.
But like I had one yesterday. I got the call and I was like, oh, cool. You know, I can apply the hustle.
Yeah.
In little spurts.
And will do it, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm not trying to like make some kind of home improvement empire.
Right.
Where in my 20s and early 30s, I would do anything. I would work from dark to dark, don't care. Just because you thought that you had to prove yourself. Now I'm realizing time is slipping away from me real fast. And that my daughter is 13 years old. And I probably have 4 actual summers left with her.
Yeah.
Because
if you're lucky,
the last,
she doesn't want to hang out with you. Last one, maybe. Yeah.
And the last summer, she's getting ready to go to college.
Yeah.
Or whatever she's going to do. I don't know. Like I got 3 years until she's driving. So I'm realizing time is slipping fast. And that I can't be so nose to the ground as before because I will miss everything that I'm supposed to do. That's why could I have sat home this last weekend for the gymnastics meet? Sure could have, but I'm not missing it. I'm not missing the band concert tonight. I'm not missing wrestling practice ever. We're not. I don't miss. My son was in T-ball. Not missing it because when all the noise goes away, I'm gonna be sad.
Yeah,
like real sad. So yeah, as a pain in my neck, I pay so much money, man. Like for bats and cleats and leotards, and my wife is running around like a nutbag trying to get everybody to practice, and then I go try to assist when I get out of work. So
But at least you're not. They're doing things they want to do. You're not pushing.
No.
I've bitched about this before. It's been a while. I'll bitch about it today. I hate whenever people, like parents, make kids do things they didn't get to do, and they push that on it. But if your kids are actually passionate about those things, they found that they enjoy it, man, double down. You know what I mean? Like whatever.
So that's where I was, and I've told people about kids. Like when we were having kids, my agreement was I'll have as many kids as you want.
Whoa.
Because I can't carry them. I can't. I don't have the ability to give life. I can't. That's not my body. But if they ever get out of diapers, it's over. Just because I'm throwing money in the trash every day.
Yeah.
And little ones up until diapers are pretty tough.
Yeah.
They're awesome, but it's stressful.
Yeah.
Plus, there's a lot of crying.
Yeah.
And now it's one of the ones where things have slowed down. And I think that when that noise goes away, empty nester thing that's not awesome. So what I'm trying to do is savor all the times that I can. And so if the kids are involved in something, okay, fine, I'll figure it out. Like right now, I think I'm going to transition probably more, trying to get more of the community involved in this stuff, because the parents, like we were saying, the parents should probably not think that your kid's going to Major League Baseball.
Yeah, that's a problem.
And
everybody's kid's the fucking quarterback, man.
And probably should have your kid try like 4, 5, 7 different sports, and just to see what they like, instead of, the travel that we talk about, the travel showcase, like that kind of stuff. And that way you never know what your kid's going to love. Because case in point, I help with the Viking, the Northwest Louisiana youth program, wrestling or airline. So it's little Viking team, and this is the first time middle school is going to have wrestling this year, but the community did not dedicate any money for mats for them, and they did not dedicate dedicated coaches for them. So we're kind of stuck in a conundrum of, okay, what do we do? So airline coaches had said, look, you guys can welcome to come to our youth wrestling program. And they had over 100 kids sign up, but only like 17 showed.
Really?
And it's free, dude. So, and I'm thinking, for me, it's a no-brainer, because I don't know too many sports that will give you the lessons of life as that does.
Yeah.
Where you're going to learn how to lose gracefully. You're going to learn how to win gracefully. You're going to be the hammer. You're going to be the nail. You're going to get in shape. You're going to learn body awareness. Like I see very little drawback, except for maybe skin infection. If you're not taking, if you don't take a shower.
That's a hygiene issue. That's not,
you know what I mean?
You have bigger fucking problems. Like
but there's so male, female alike, it doesn't matter. So the coolest part so far has been, we got a ton of kids from Cope that are special education kids, and they are absolutely loving it. I'm talking about smiling the whole time, sweating, dying, but crazy smiles. If those parents would not have brought their kid just to try it, they never would have known. Yeah. So even their teacher comes in there every day because they trust him, they love him. And he said, in the 3 weeks that these special education kids have been coming to practice, I've seen a drop in their behavioral issues, and the respect that they have for people has increased, because they look at you guys like fathers. Because some of the kids at the house, they don't have that male dominant figure that says, no, you will. And at practice, they look forward to coming to do that. And I think without that, these kids wouldn't have anything.
Yeah.
They may not play organized baseball because they can't pay attention. Like some of them have severe ADHD, but magically, when you allow a kid to grapple with another one, they start paying attention. It's kind of funny how that works. So this is a public service announcement and direct camera look. Public service announcement, no joke, to Shreveport, Bossier area, that if you want excellent football, basketball, baseball players, they probably should be on the mat. Yeah. And that this is not like an opinion piece. This is physical excellence is going to come from them controlling bodies that don't want to be controlled.
Yeah.
And
look at the UFC. Who are your best fighters?
The wrestlers. Dominant.
You teach, if they know how to wrestle, you can teach them jiu-jitsu, you can teach them boxing. Yeah. But you can't bring someone in off the street and teach them how to wrestle in a couple of years and then become champions. Like you're champions, you're Habib, you're John Jones, you're Daniel Cormier, you're Colby Covington. I can keep going and keep going and keep going.
Right.
Like, they're all wrestlers.
And so if you look at it like this, that sport, it instills, I don't care if you only do it one season, it instills something in a kid that it never leaves. Ever, never. They're going to be your best employees, promise. Because they're doing stuff they don't want to do in circumstances that is not favorable, and that they're not going to win. They're not going to win sometimes. So it teaches you not just to be an employee, but just to be a good person. So like when life gets hard, and we're going to still go through this thing because that's what you do. And that it's an individual sport, but it has a team outcome. So I would say for the people in Shreveport Bossier, if your kid is not on a basketball court this winter, it's not too late to put that kid on the team, I promise you. And all year round, the clubs run. So North DeSoto has over 100 kids.
Yeah, Dustin's doing some work down there.
I love it. And they get the benefit of having all those kids under one roof. So they're trapped in a system, which is great.
Yeah.
So we don't have that benefit. And that our kids demographically are way different than theirs.
Yeah.
It just is what it is.
Yeah.
And so now with that being said, we have some freak athletes in this area that are not doing anything in the wintertime. And so this is mic drop on anyone that is not doing something that if you want to be great at something, you probably should be doing something hard in the wintertime. That the only reason why so case in point, I was a really good football player, and at least I thought it was. In the grand scheme of it, I was very average.
Yeah.
When you look at like what really is going on in the nation, very average. But in my little fishbowl, pretty good. But I said I wanted to be great, and I said, well, what do I do to do that? And my dad, without hesitation, said, you need to wrestle. I said, I'm not doing that. I'm putting spandex on. It's terrible. But he was 100% right. So I can, and I will wholeheartedly put this out there that I owe most things in life to wrestling. Most. So without wrestling, I would not have been a Division I college athlete. Without wrestling, I would not have been a Division I strength conditioning coach. Without that, I'm not meeting the MMA people. Without that, I am not a world champion jiu-jitsu player.
Your jiu-jitsu strengths,
you know what I'm saying?
Based from the wrestling, bro. Just let's be real. Like
it's without that, I'm just regular, like everybody else. So it honestly, I cannot speak highly enough for male or female, and that for ladies, you don't want to get raped. And I know you're not supposed to say the word.
No, fuck
if you
that.
don't, if you don't want to be raped, if you can wrestle, that dude has zero chance.
Yeah, if you're an experienced wrestler, I don't care what your gender is. No one's gonna be able to hold you down.
No,
dude. I remember when I grappled with Daniel Cormier. And I was 200. I was probably 230 pounds. I had my pec tendon reattached. I hadn't been back to training yet, so we sparred first. Got really tired. Mm-hmm. Oh, they kept putting fresh guys on. You know how they do in the gym.
Sure.
Right? And we
Shark
got
Tank.
done boxing sparring, and then we went and hit the mats. And no, I'm not a great wrestler. No, I'm not a great jiu-jitsu guy, but I'm strong. You know, and I'm strong on the ground. And a lot of times a good jiu-jitsu person my same weight or a little bit lighter than me especially, it's hard for them to submit me because I'll just overpower them. Mm-hmm. But when someone your same weight has those capabilities or even half your size, like I've wrestled and rolled with guys who are amazing wrestlers that are 120 pounds.
They'll get you.
And they feel like 500 fucking pounds on
They'll
top
get
of
you.
That dude, I went back to my gym the next week or two and I was like, all you motherfuckers in here are pussies. I just roll with this guy. And I thought y'all are all kicking my ass. This dude right here is another level.
So that's the benefit. And look, man, it's kind of like when I put my girls in gymnastics. So I didn't put them in there so that way we could go do the pageantry thing and get them up on the podium. Could care less. I wanted them to be competent, with their tumbling abilities, get their upper body strong, get them explosive, and then go play whatever sport that they want and be awesome. The exact same thing goes for wrestling. They're 100%. I have never ever had somebody that was a wrestler that was worse at the sport that they went back to. As a matter of fact, if you were to ask college scouts, and if they knew that you had wrestled in the background, I promise you get towards the top of the list.
Yeah, because they know you have better endurance, you're more coachable.
Correct.
You're better in the trenches.
So we are fed by we're part of the airline district, And so for the airline coaching staff, if I promise you, like you guys did good this year. But the more players you put on that mat, I swear to you that the win-loss record will reflect that in a positive manner. So, yes, could Benton do the same thing? Yeah, but I don't want him to. Now, selfishly, I want my home team to win, so I need our wrestling program to be more stout than the others. But being from the outsider, like I'm not from here. I don't have those old school ties like that. So it's harder for me to get in with the coaching staff and them say, oh, yeah, he wrestled here for this state champion in 2000, whatever, where some of these guys have been here for decades. Yeah. And that if they were to receive any of this message, I would highly implore you, you are more than welcome to call me. I'll come speak to your kids. And I really would love to see this area absolutely mud stomp the dudes down south. Because the guys down at Holy Cross and Jesuit and like those programs down there, they got it figured out. They have it figured out, and that's why the football teams are pretty damn good too. Yeah. Because they're multi-sport athletes and that they're freaking mean, and their programs are really good.
Yeah. I mean, you look at most anyone who's a star athlete coming out of high school going to the college, most every single one of those play multiple sports. It's not a coincidence, right?
I think you should.
Yeah. Well, you spoke about this before, and I think first you should let your child trial those things.
Sure.
And I think you shouldn't put the pressure on them to do either any one thing, even if they're great at one and they don't like it, and they suck at one and they love it.
Dude,
I would rather them do the one they suck at that love than the one that they're naturally gifted at. Because if they can get great at this one they're passionate about, then they can double down on and use those skills on the one they're great at. You know?
It would break my heart if my son said he didn't want to wrestle anymore because the dude's good.
Yeah,
he's really good. But would I chastise him? No, man. Like if baseball turns out to be his new thing, man, I don't care.
Yeah.
Look, then I'm gonna put my baseball hat on.
Get on first base, boy.
We'll be out. Like right now, we go out in the backyard and make sure that everybody's getting. Same thing with girls. Like my daughter made the volleyball team. If that turns out to be her thing, cool. If the one kid,
volleyball net in the back.
Hey, we're getting a net, and that's where. But I want them to be involved in multiple things, so that way, number one, you're not pigeonholed into one group of friends.
Yeah.
Because each sport, each club, whether it's 4-H or cheerleading or whatever, they got a different group of people that you have access to, and you have common things, and then each one is going to prevent overuse injury, because each sport has different demands. So volleyball player, way different than a wrestler. Way different than track and field, way different than a soccer player. So whatever you do, mix and match. That way you're not having ACL blowouts from the same sport over and over and over.
Yeah. So, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, it's funny because my kids like to run. They've been doing the running club. And that's what they like to do. They don't want to do anything else. Keep saying, hey, you want to dance or tumbling or whatever. They'll say, yeah, or she'll say, yeah, I don't want to. But the boy took him to wrestling. All right. We went to Benton.
Okay.
We went... Actually, he had to go with my buddy because I had to work that evening or something, and he ended up going with him and his son.
Okay.
First practice, breaks his clavicle.
What did Matt return?
He fractured. I don't even know. They were just. It was him and another kid. I wasn't there, but he was complaining. We thought he like dislocated his shoulder. Ended up going to ER that night. Had a fracture in his clavicle. So he's been down for he just come out of the sling like 2 weeks ago. So very first practice. So we're going to find out if that deterred him, and I'm going to ask him if he wants to try it again.
Dang,
we'll probably come try to roll around with you guys if he decides he wants to.
Yeah, you're more than welcome. Look,
first thing we need to work on is bone density, right? So we need to lift some more weights, eat some, get some more calcium in there. He's back to doing a little bit of push-ups and stuff. I know he can do those. I feel like he can move some bodies around.
How old is he?
8, 9.
Oh man, he'd be fine.
Yeah, he'll be all right. Yeah. I'm not worried about it, but it's just funny. He wanted to do it, was excited to do it, so let's go do it. First practice, boom.
I bet you as a mat return, it just came down weird. As if he came down on his shoulder like this, it's a snap like that. You lift him up and return, come down on his shoulder.
And we were going to go back and take my daughter, but she doesn't want to go without him going. But she wants to try it too, so we'll see.
That's cool. We got some girls.
Yeah, we're going to come see y'all.
Well, I figure if you got kids and they're sitting on the couch on their Nintendo Switch or they're not doing anything,
yeah, mine don't do that. Yeah.
Probably should get them to, because Green Acres, we had 40 kids sign up, none showed.
Yeah.
So Cope had the biggest showing, and I think that this area, you have resources here that are, I mean, Coach Ernie and Coach Tim, very good practitioners. I'm not bad practitioner where I can definitely give you the ways of the world like that. You got 3 assets that can really help a kid, and that I wasn't exposed to that at that age. I can only imagine how much you could learn, or like what you could have done if at 7, 8, 9 years old you had the exposure. Maybe you did it for 2 years, and then 2-3 years, and then you took a break, whatever, played volleyball or whatever you're going to do. And then your freshman year of high school, you go in there, you know exactly what you're doing because you know the basic technique. You kind of got a feel for it, and you're not starting over like knowing nothing. They don't have to explain stuff. You just got to fine tune what you got. Mm-hmm. So it's not like, okay, from 6 until 18, you're locked in. That's dumb.
Well, I'll tell you this. We were coming up in high school. We had I was at Halton, and we had a small wrestling team a long time ago. This was like in the early 2000s and or mid 2000s. But I remember those couple dudes that wrestled, and I just remember because we were bad, dude. We'd fight and do dumb shit, and we were always about who was a badass, who was gonna whoop somebody's ass. But we never wanted to mess with the wrestlers, bro, because we knew they could hold us down. Like,
yeah, because if it goes down, punch and
kick, once they get a hold to you, bro, it's over with. Like, it's just funny though. I remember thinking about that in high school. I was like, man, I'm not wearing that shit. I'm not wearing those tights and shit. But at the same time, I'm not talking shit at that dude either. Because he might be smaller than me, but I still know he can out wrestle me.
And I think there's a certain knowledge like you check, like when people come watch practice and go, all right, I'm gonna talk trash, but I don't want none of that.
Yeah.
Which, look, man, I'm a fan. Like even the coach from Cope, he only wrestled at a season or 2, but it still creates that commonality with everybody. Hell, I ran into somebody 20 years ago. We used to compete in high school. We wrestled 4 or 5 times, and I razor thin. I beat him each time. I ran into him 20 years later. He knew exactly who I was, and as soon as he said his name, I went, "Oh man!" So there's a commonality anytime you have mutual combat with somebody, whether you spar somebody,
yes,
whether you're in a fight,
yes, sparring,
a fist fight,
sparring, fist fight,
wrestling,
dude, fight, like cage fight, like
yeah, you remember their name,
beat or been beaten by. I can call those people now. Like I don't really talk to them, but if I see them in passing, we see them in passing, like, "What's up, bro? How are you?" Like
it's a mutual respect.
That come natural. Like no one ever taught me that. Like I just remember, like, shout out to Alex. I believe it's pronounced the last name Cherrier or whatever. So he beat me in my very first fight. Like I remember seeing him afterwards. We drank. We had a couple drinks.
As you should.
I was just then 21, I believe. I might have been underage. I don't know. But anyways,
allegedly.
Allegedly, because I started training earlier than that. But I see him a couple years later, and I'll still reach out and talk shit, just whatever. Like, and it's never like, "Oh, fuck you for beating me." It's like,
no,
"What's up, bro? How are you?" Because
he's a part of your story,
right? You spent time with that person in something like that you both wanted to achieve. Yeah. Like you were both trying to okay, I want to get to I want to overcome you, or vice versa. Like I want to win.
Everybody needs that.
Yeah, they do. They really do.
So every person needs that. I swear to you, I couldn't tell you anybody I played football against. I know all my teammates, but I don't know them people that I would try to smash. I have no idea. It's a team thing. It's a bunch of bodies.
You're exactly right. Your team went towards a goal together, so you remember them. But in combat sports,
you know who that is.
Yeah.
You know who was your toughest spar.
Yeah.
You know who was a monster whenever you grabbed their leg. You know who really almost made you quit.
Same thing. Yeah, it's the same thing with sparring and even wrestling on the mat. Like there's those guys you probably like, fuck.
Yeah,
like Chad Leonhardt, that dude, he hears us to watch this. Like that dude used to beat the shit out of us. But I'm sure he somehow respects us for staying in there, knowing that he knew he was cracking, like he knew he was cracking us, bro.
Hey man,
like he went on and he signed with Bellator, and then I believe he had an injury, but great guy. He was a wrestler. Chad's a wrestler. I don't know if you ever met Chad. He's an Oklahoma guy, boy, Oklahoma wrestler. He's back up there now.
Okay,
coaching, but that's another. He was a fucking wrestler, but he would beat our ass on the ground. He'd beat our ass in the ring.
Because there's a mentality of pressure.
Yeah, dude.
And you want to break the other one's will. Now, whether they break or not, it's up to them. It's not going to be up to you because you're going to try to push them into the dirt as far as you can. You just want to grind them down and grind them down and grind them down.
You know what's funny is I have more respect for him than some of those guys who are more experienced and just want to come in there and try to knock kids out that weren't as good as them.
Yeah, because they're just being punks and picking on people.
It is interesting because now that I think about that, because there was those couple guys and I was like, okay, this dude's had a couple pro fights. First off, he shouldn't be sparring this fella or that fella, or even me, for that matter, because when I hadn't had any yet, or if he is, he should not be going at 80%. He should be going about 30.
Yeah.
Whereas Chaz just putting pressure on the whole time. He wasn't trying to knock you
He
out.
was
But
trying to make you work.
It felt like he was.
So in his eyes, it's like your dad or your mom teaching you how to ride a bike. And they're going to let you fall sometimes, but they're going to make you do the damn work. Mm-hmm. So the pressure he's putting on you is him making you get through bad stuff.
Yeah.
It's like there's a thing called a grind match in wrestling. So it's where you are always touching one another. So it might be 30 minutes long where you cannot break contact. So I take high crotch, turn the corner, take you down, hands are on top of you, hands are on your back. You got to stand up, hands stay on you. It's your shot and you go. So that kind of pressure is going to make you, it sucks real bad, but they're not trying to do it to be a dick. They're trying to make sure that you have enough gas in your tank to do what's supposed to and vice versa.
Yeah.
So that person may be better skilled than you, but you both are in there trying to get better. So that's probably why you respect that dude, is he was giving you the tools to get better by showing you levels of competition.
Yeah, most definitely. At the same time, during that, you're like, oh shit, you know what I mean? Like, but it's a lesson learned later. And there's been a lot of people I've trained with over the years that's been that way. But he's one that stands out because he was a wrestler, like you were talking about. And look, man, there's a lot of great athletes and a lot of great fighters that haven't wrestled. You know what I mean? But
there's a mentality and a fraternity to it, where if you see somebody with a big neck and a messed up ear, you don't have to ask. You already know, like, even if they're just the nicest guy, that at some point they had to do some really hard stuff, and that they're probably a hard worker. Like there's very few people that have stepped on the mat or in the ring, for that matter. Well, there's some in the ring that are turd bags, but very few people that have done very hard sports that are not highly publicized, that are not good people.
Why is it that wrestling doesn't get its accolades, man? Why is it still that it doesn't?
Because it's hard to do.
Right, but man,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. There's not as many people pursuing that because it is harder to do.
It's hard to do.
Because there's thousands upon thousands or millions or whatever of basketball players or baseball players or whatever, and it's still a hard sport to get to that level. But I agree, it's not something. I guess that makes sense. But
it's
still,
very difficult and maybe not as fan friendly as like a soccer where it's immediate go, or like football. You got basically the general of the team, and then the running back or the receiver that's catching one. It's really exciting. It reminds you of like two tribes going to war.
Right.
That's why I think that's really popular, is because you got two tribes that are going to war, and like one scores like one of them blows. And that with wrestling, the oldest sport, it is the oldest, that in fighting, like fist fighting.
Yeah, that's the oldest sport.
Fighting and wrestling is the oldest, pancration, old.
Yeah.
But it's not as popular because it's friggin' hard, and that people are not real privy to the rules. So like over in Iran, they're superstars. The wrestlers and the weightlifters are superstars.
Yeah.
They're like our basketball players. So it's just different cultural stuff.
Yeah, makes sense.
I mean, it's weird, but hey, man, it is what it is. I'm going to keep saying it until people are tired of me saying it, or I see more kids in that room. Because really, I hate that North Louisiana is viewed in such a nasty light, and that we're really only viewed in a good way for baseball. Really.
Yeah, if you're talking about like a kid's athletic.
Really, we're only viewed for baseball.
Yeah.
And that nothing wrong with baseball. Baseball's a great sport. I love baseball. But how come all the down south teams absolutely dog walk us? It's stupid. So
in football,
it's not. It shouldn't be like that. So I guarantee you. So what if we tried this experiment for 4 years, that we said, if you're not in indoor track and field, or if you're not on a basketball court, you will be on the mat, and we start winning games. What if it worked? I think it'd be kind of cool to see a freshman group all the way to senior, and then 4 years previous they didn't wrestle, and that was what happened. But these 4 years they did wrestle, then what happened? You compare apples to apples and see what happened.
Yeah,
I'd put I put $100 on it saying that the winning record would be on the side of the grapplers.
Yeah, I agree. I think that. I think that, man. I think more Olympic lifting, not just squat and bench and deadlift.
No,
like
really,
that shit doesn't do anything on the field. Like I don't give a shit. You're not squatting anybody on the football field.
Nope. So
you're not benching anyone on the football field.
So
you're pushing your ass off the ground if you get knocked down.
I'm a big fan of being strong in different planes of motion.
Yeah.
And that, unfortunately, strength coaches are limited to the high school as of yet. They're getting better with high school strength coaches, but a well-designed program specific to the sport that you're going to. So football is 6-second play. It's a long play.
Yeah.
So anything less than that and power development, you're going to have a good time. Where wrestling, you're going to need a little more strength endurance. Not that you don't need strength, you got to be damn strong, but it's a different thing. Like a lot of zerchers, squats, a lot of step up.
You're holding those for a long. Like your muscle needs not to fatigue so quick.
Sure.
Whereas just like if you're a runner or a football player, right, you're exerting that energy quickly.
Or like your lady soccer players or your lady volleyball players should be like single leg dominant hamstring stuff where like you're correcting for like the different anatomical stuff that they need. So there's a lot of different ways you can do it. But I think the way that the template that we use right now is kind of not the most optimal.
Yeah.
And that, man, our schools have resources in this community that I think if they were to ask that we would help just because it's our community too. Because I kind of like watching sports. And that if I live here, I want to be involved and see these kids do well. And I'm sure there's way more people like me than not.
Yeah, I agree.
And that, hell, it didn't have to be anything major. Say, hey, we can run a coach's clinic and say, this is the best practices that we could see for your programs. And you don't have to be a member of the faculty. Like it could be, all right, we get coaches from all the areas, come in for a Saturday. You guys bring your coffee, bring your notebooks. We're going to whiteboard it out. And that we're going to figure out how we can help you guys win. Whether it be somebody like Matt Mary at D1, who's an excellent strength coach, he's a crazy speed guy.
Yeah.
Very good resource here. Now, obviously, D1's pay to play.
Right.
But I can't speak for him, but I would hope that if it was just a one-time thing, that maybe we could get some expertise that all of us could come together and give some insight.
Yeah.
It'd be kind of fun, man.
Well, there's a lot of people, man. Dustin Burton. He's running that whole program down at North DeSoto.
Yeah.
I need
Chad. They got Chad in there doing some strength stuff with him.
Chad is Chad.
Eisel, yeah.
Chad Eisel's down there.
I seen him.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, man. There's a lot of big players that people need to that everyone could learn from, and there needs to be more. Some more collaboration.
Yes, and even like North DeSoto and Airline and Benton and Houghton and Parkway. Okay, let's say after February state championship stuff, I think we should all get together and have open room, have a rotating thing of we have different clinicians that can offer different things.
Yeah.
Because I'd be far better at certain things than somebody else, and then they would be far better than me at something else.
Well, I'm not. Look, you're in this wrestling space. I'm not. So I'm not going to speak out of turn here because I have absolutely no clue about the politics of it.
There's a bunch, but I don't care.
Or anything. But I know that upon collaboration creates even better competitors.
Yeah, and look,
where it be in any sport, but everyone's, like I said, that word competitor, like everyone's competitive. So like it's no matter what sport it is, people are kind of they don't want to give away their trade secrets. Or
I should reframe this. Yeah. If you're good at what you do, what do you care?
Right, exactly.
So
I agree.
If you're not nervous, that's why I don't lie. Because if you're worried about the consequences, you lie.
Right.
If you're worried about your coaching competence, then you're afraid of someone knowing what you know. If they know it and you still can beat them, you're a damn good coach.
Yeah.
If you can't and you're afraid of trademark type stuff, maybe you're not as good as coach as you say.
Yeah.
And that, to me, it's all about youth development. So us old guys, our time is done. We can't live through the athletes. So my time is all the way done. I want to see these kids do cool stuff.
Yeah.
So
yeah, because they're not going to stay here. They're not
Yeah.
going to stay here. It's great to see bring a championship home to whatever school it may be or whatever team it may be. But at some point, they're moving on to another team.
Dude, it's youth development. And yes, championships, all right, fine. Job security, great. But you would be remiss I mean, to me, it's short-sightedness of having lots of talent in an area, but it's segregated to whatever area you live in.
That happens, and that happens in every single sport.
It's dumb.
It happens in every single
This
sport.
is about kids, man.
It happens in football way more than it would wrestling or anything else.
Now,
Like
in
football's the worst.
college, I get it. So in college, I completely understand it. It's an entire university. They're making millions of dollars as a coach.
Yeah,
and
but
that,
they're also recruiting people from all over the world.
Correct.
Or states or whatever it may be. They're bringing people to there to create some type of empire, whereas this is just it's based on what zip code you live in.
dude, it's youth sports, man.
I mean, it is what it is.
And I always view it as North Louisiana versus South Louisiana.
Yeah.
I absolutely want to beat them guys up. And that when it comes down to it, when North and South are settled their thing, then it should be Team Louisiana versus Team Oklahoma. We should beat their ass.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's how I look at it. It's like, all right, if it's between the North and the South of us, all right, let's figure out who's the bad one. And then when you go to national competition, I don't care if you're from North or South. You're from the boot. You are against anybody else.
Yeah.
That's how it should be.
Yeah, I get
it's
it.
pooled resources, and then you send your best and brightest to go get it.
Yeah.
I don't know, but that's being a grown up in this whole situation of I have no dog in the fight. If it was my son and he was on Team Louisiana and he was second best, I'm not griping about it because I can't go compete for him.
Yeah.
And that if he had the very best chance, just like everybody else, and he learned from Burton and he learned from the Houghton coach and he learned from me and he learned from the Benton coach and he still was second best, this is what it is.
Yeah. I agree.
I don't know. That's kind of how I look
I
at
agree,
it.
bro. No, I like it. I like the mentality. I like that. I like everything you're doing, bro.
We're trying to get after it, man. We ain't done yet.
No,
it's one of them ones. Hell, you never know. I might get squirrely and get in a whole something whole else. You never know.
Yeah. Well, to be continued, bro.
You know what it is?
Let's wrap it up. Always a pleasure, sir.
Yeah, man.
Cheers to the next year. I hope everything goes well, bro.
Oh, before we part, you see my Christmas gift right here?
Look at there.
See, he don't want to be on camera, but Josh came through with the 1991 Casio water resistant stopwatch for your boy's Christmas gift. Do you see this right now? So that's how we end the thing.
Yep, let's do it. All right, bro. See
All
you
right,
later.
man.